gentlemen, thank you for your patience this evening, and most especially, thank you for coming to today's community town hall. On behalf of the Garrison Commander, Colonel David Stewart, Garrison Command Sergeant Major Brandon Creel, and Deputy to the Garrison Commander, Mr. Sean Lehane, welcome to today's community town hall. For those of you online, you can find the slides and follow along by clicking on the link that is provided in the chat. At this time, I'll go over the agenda. We'll begin with a welcome and an update from the Garrison Commander, preceded by some announcements, followed by tonight's guest speaker, Dr. Michelle Reed, Superintendent, Fairfax County Public Schools. That will be followed by an events update from the directorates, by our panel, with brief updates from each directorate. And finally, we will have our Q&A session, which is really the reason why we're here, before we close out the meeting. At this time, I'll turn it over to our Garrison Commander, Colonel Stewart.
All right, good evening, everybody. Hey, I just want to welcome everybody here tonight. Obviously, everybody's very busy, and I appreciate everybody taking the time out to come out tonight and have this two-way dialogue. So this is an important event for us because it allows us to bridge the communication gap between everybody who lives, works, and plays on Fort Belvoir. So these are important to us to gauge kind of what the environment is like, what the challenges are like on the installation, and really be able to put resources to address the concerns and the issues that we might be having. So this is important for us. And it's really twofold. I just want to highlight, this is an opportunity for us to communicate what is going on the installation that affects everybody here. So it's a way for us to give you all information on what's currently happening and what's on the forecast in terms of how we're providing world-class services and support to everybody who lives, works, and plays on Fort Belvoir. The second piece of this is two-way. So we want to make sure that the dialogue is established where we can hear the concerns, the recommendations, the challenges from your perspective, because we don't have eyes and ears everywhere. So we want to make sure that we have the platforms where you can communicate to us kind of what those things are that keep you up at night and how we can assist to improve the quality of life and the focus, allow you to focus on what's most important specifically in terms of readiness where you work on the installation or off the installation. So this is important for us to kind of have those platforms available. So as we proceed tonight, there'll be some upfront briefings that we have that kind of showcase what we've done over the last quarter since we had the last town hall, as well as peek into what's on the horizon in the next quarter and beyond, just for situational awareness for everybody that's here on Fort Belvoir. And then past the spot briefs that we have, so the staff is all here assembled, one to kind of give you some insight into the different directors, the different resources that are available, and some of the different initiatives and actions that are upcoming on the calendar, as well as field any questions that you all might have that are of greatest concern to you. So if we can't answer the questions here tonight, we'll be taking notes, we'll take them back, and then we'll research the answers and hopefully get those out to you within the next week. So that's kind of the format of tonight's engagement. So nothing's off the table. Anything that affects or is affected by the installation or outside the installation that we might have the ability to influence, all of those are on the table here tonight. And if that's good to go, I just want to make sure we do quick introduction so you know who is here tonight providing the information briefs. And I'll start down on the left.
Yes, I'm Matthew Conlon. I'm Chief of Housing for the Garrison.
My name is Bridget Pilgrim, and I am the Garrison Safety Manager.
My name is Glenda Zayat. I'm the Deputy Director of DPW. Lieutenant Colonel Julie Austin, the Director of Emergency Services.
Jill Reed, the Superintendent of Fairfax County Public Schools.
Command Sergeant Major Brandon Creel, the Garrison Command Sergeant Major Fort Belvoir.
Sean Lehane, Deputy Garrison Commander.
Kevin Reddick, Director of Human Resources.
George Dixon, Director of MWR.
Marie Bailey, Fort Belvoir School Liaison.
All right, let's go ahead and continue. Next slide, please. All right, here we go. So just looking back into what's transpired over the last quarter, just want to hit a few highlights. So we've been very busy entertaining a lot of VIPs here on the installation. Obviously over the past year, there's been a lot of change in DC, and that's both with inside the Pentagon as well as the agencies that support in terms of the government here. So we've had a lot of visibility because we're close to the flagpole. We've been fortunate to be able to entertain and showcase some of the things that are happening on Fort Belvoir. And there are some of the examples of that. From the DAS-D visit as well as the DASA visit, really focus on soldier issues, resources, facilities that affect day-to-day operations as well as family life. So great visits to showcase specifically all of the ACS capabilities that we have that help support soldiers and their families on the installation. So, and great articles written about that to highlight those tremendous events and what they provided in terms of insight to senior leaders off the installation. We also had a visit from Chef Irvine. So as we look at health and wellness, it's an opportunity to get showcase what our installation looks like in terms of what we provide our soldiers, and hear from him on things that we can do to better improve health and wellness on the installation, specifically for single soldiers, and what they deal with on a daily basis when it comes to nutrition and that sort of thing. So great event there. We also kicked off the 101 days, critical days of summer. So really focus on safety on the installation, preparedness, making sure that we reinforce the continuous narrative that we need to be thinking safety at all times. It was supported by over 50 vendors in front of the PX area. So another great opportunity to engage the community and put that messaging out there to make sure that we're doing things appropriately throughout the summer season. Moving down into security, just wanted to talk one issue, gates specifically. So we got a lot of questions over the different engagements we have, specifically concerning access, gate open, gate times, number of lanes, the backups, that sort of thing. All of that is a factor of resources. So we have a specific manning requirement for our gates. So it's all a factor of what our strength is in terms of guard force, in terms of how we can open gates, how we can adjust lanes and times and that sort of thing. That has been a decline over the past year plus. And it's currently holding steady. So the way it looks today is probably what it's going to be for the foreseeable future. It's something that we are continuously assessing how we can improve access to the installation, ways that we can adjust times, maybe open more lanes. But again, it's all a factor of resources, really manpower constraints that are imposed on us. If we get more resources, we open more gates. If we get more manpower, we possibly can extend times that the gates are open. But it's something that we're continuously looking at because we understand the second order effects or ability to access the installation on a daily basis. The other thing I wanted to touch on is the exercise that's coming up in September. So one of the priorities for us is security on the installation. We have to make sure that we are prepared to respond on a really bad day. I think everybody can relate to the incident that happened recently at Fort Stewart with the active shooter. Those are the sorts of situations we need to make sure that we continue to train for, we continue to have staff that's prepared to respond, mitigate, and then respond if there is a really bad day. So this is one of the examples here coming up in September where we're going to have a training event over the course of several days that really lets us test our processes, make sure that all of our personnel know what the expectations are in terms of mission, and able to reduce the effects of a really bad day. So just wanted to highlight that event that's coming up here in September. And then lastly, moving down into safe communities, again, it's all about safety. We want to make sure that service members can focus on their mission. So readiness, improve readiness for all of our formations. And one way that we can contribute to that is making sure that we maintain a continuous focus on safety. So different things that we can do to reinforce not just the mindset in remaining safe, but also what we can do as an installation and our resources dedicated to maintaining a safe environment, safe communities here on the installation. And I'll just touch on the bottom one there. One of the reoccurring themes that we have from the communities is relative to speeding on installation. And I want to say it is on our radar, it's something that we prioritize, and again, we put resources against mitigating it, trying to make sure that we're out there, there's a presence observed, so we can influence driving decision-making and behavior. So that's just some stats that are up there. So over the past month, we've issued 973 tickets. All right, and I've suspended driving privileges for 25 individuals on the installation. So we're continuously looking at that and ways to mitigate the speeding thing. The presence is one thing. Hopefully the repercussions for those that get caught aggressively speeding is another. Speed signs, stop signs, putting those in different key areas will hopefully influence behavior and drop the speeding down to where it's appropriate. So we wanted to just kind of show some of the highlights on what we're doing on those. Go ahead, next slide. So we wanted to show this, again, another theme that we continuously get at these engagements is communication. So it's all about making sure all of the residents and workers here on the installation are getting the messaging, specifically when it comes to change requirements on the installation. So the primary means that we disseminate information is through Facebook. That is the official way to get the latest and greatest on what's going on Fort Belvoir. Then you also have the other social media platforms or the other apps. We have the My Own Post apps, which is another great resource and tool to be able to get the information out. We had the installation LinkedIn page, which is another one. But those are the official platforms where we disseminate information on the installation. Now, I acknowledge that there are some informal ways that messaging gets out there through different pages that are set up and generated and managed by service members and spouses on the installation. I just want to put stop, those are unofficial, so that they do not always have the latest and greatest information. It is oftentimes not accurate. So if you read something, I'd ask that you just go to one of the official ways, one of the official platforms for information to confirm whatever that message is, whatever that information requirement is. Go ahead, next slide. Okay. Next thing I wanted to highlight real quick is two things. So each of our housing areas on the installation has a mayor assigned to them. So it's a program we started a few years ago where residents can communicate up through their mayors in their housing area, concerns, recommendations that they may have. So I just wanted to put a plug and a request for anybody who's interested in serving as a mayor or a deputy mayor to contact the housing office, and the information for the POC is there on the slide. But again, we do have some vacancies in the villages right now, in the different communities right now. So if you are interested, please come online and share your interest there. The other thing, the food pantry. So that's something that we stood up last year. Again, when you look at the food insecurity here at Kona Space, we are one installation that has taken this initiative and ran with it. So we opened a food pantry to help our service members and families address some of those food insecurity issues. So we understand the National Capital Region is a pretty expensive place to live. So this is one way that we can help assist our service members in times of need. So again, leaders, if you're out there, make sure that we repeat this messaging that there are resources available to help our service members and families. We need to make sure we get the word out for those that may be in need of some assistance. Go ahead, next slide, please. Okay, just wanted to touch this. Oh, we don't want to. Let's go back. Fort Belvoir Commissary. So a lot of the organizations or partner tenants that are in the installation don't necessarily fall under Garrison, but we have a great relationship and support of all the service members and families on the installation. And DECA, who runs the commissary, is another great example of that. So we wanted to kind of highlight, showcase some of the great initiatives that they've had implemented recently over the past few months here. So I'll just call out two. So they set up, beginning in July, they set up this fresh organic section within the commissary. So again, we're talking about healthy eating, wellness. That's another capability of options that we have to service all this, to support all the service members. And I ask that you go and you support those initiatives. The other one we had is U Crops, which is a family-owned, a Virginia family-owned food chain, has actually set up a section within the commissary. Again, it gives another set of options for food, and especially the quick and fast meals, as opposed to going out to some of the fast food restaurants and eating unhealthy. It's another more healthy option, as you know, that's for consideration and consumption there at the commissary. So they continuously engage the community on ways that they can improve their services on the installation. And that's two examples of. If there are other recommendations, things that individuals have seen at other places that they could possibly adopt here to improve the food options here on installation, again, they are more than willing to address any of those recommendations. So I just ask that you maintain in touch. If you are having challenges with DECA and the commissary, please come online. The Garrison can assist in that messaging and that communication to hopefully improve an already great capability here on the installation. So just wanted to make sure I put that out. Go ahead, next slide, please. And then lastly, so the veterinary clinic. So this is a new capability that we're starting here in September, this urgent care clinic. So this isn't for the long-term stay for pets. It's kind of a walk-in ability for folks with pets that have issues, maybe some sort of ailment, for them to go in quick and get a quick look at. So we wanted to make sure that this information is pushed and available so everybody understands that this will be in place beginning the 15th of September. Okay, so we just wanted to kind of hit some of the highlights, and I want to make sure that we save plenty of time for questions. And we want to, again, pass the information so you have the latest and greatest in situation understanding on what the Garrison has on the plate and what we're doing for everybody within our communities. But that being said, I wanted to kind of transition here because we are blessed to be able to have one of our teammates here in the superintendent of Fairfax County Schools. And we're fortunate because, as we enter the start of this school season, this session, I know there's a lot of questions, maybe some concerns, but we want to make sure that we, from a partnership perspective, we can help alleviate some of the stressors, because we understand that this is a high stress period. So we are blessed to have the superintendent here, and I wanted to thank Dr. Reed for sharing her time tonight and her extremely busy schedule to come out here and provide wisdom and insight into what's happening with Fairfax County Schools. So I'm going to pass the mic and say again, thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you, Colonel Stewart. I didn't know I was going to be sharing wisdom tonight. So anyhow, it's great to be here. Some of you, I don't know if you were at the barbecue last night. Yes, there you go. We had a big barbecue. It's our first one for military connected youth and families, new to the division or in the school division for some time. And we had several hundred people come. It was a good turnout, and I think lots of fun. So, and the Colonel came as well, and I apologize, other staff came as well. So for those of you who are parents, school starts Monday, and so we want to make sure that you get to bed early, and then also that your children do, right? You get to bed before them, but we want to make sure all the students in the room know, we want to start getting to bed earlier and getting those routines in place. So we do start Monday. I was asked to talk a minute about bullying behavior. I think there were some concerns raised. So if we want to go to the next slide. Thank you. Just want to share that we do define bullying, I think, and you can see that on the slide. Essentially, our strategy in Fairfax County Public Schools is to work on prevention, because then we don't have to deal with the trauma of bullying. We do want you to know that every age group does receive age-appropriate instruction in their health classes or in the elementary school classes. We also talk about responsible technology use. As you know, we're a cell phone-free division, kindergarten through 8th grade. In high school, we are allowing age-appropriate cell phone use at lunch, but other than that, it has to be put away during instructional time and between classes. We also talked about social emotional learning, mental wellness and support, and community building. So it should be, if your child is experiencing stress or feels targeted by another student or in any way is feeling uncomfortable, there should be a trusted adult. We would want you to go to the child's teacher first, and then of course if it's not able to be resolved, then talk with the school-based administrator if there continues to be a problem. One of the things, we do have a tracking system, which at each school level, so if there are issues, they are entered into a data set that are reviewed centrally every quarter. So we want to make sure that if there are any patterns at a particular school, that we're able to intervene and provide different resources. We also want to make sure we partner with families. So we want to make sure that we work together. So if you become aware of something, please reach out to the school and share what you know, because the school may not know. Sometimes children don't report it to an adult, and then then people are frustrated that nothing happens, but if staff haven't been notified, it's possible nothing would happen. So if you do feel like your child's having a challenge, please reach out to the school and address that. So next slide. Do want to talk for a minute about our Purple Star program and our commitment to, by next year, to have 100% of our schools be Purple Star schools. We do have 200 schools in the county, about 183,000 children, and 40,000 staff. So we're a fairly large division, the 9th largest in the country. And so it's important to us, with about 13,500 military connected youth, that we have every school be a Purple Star school, which means that we have special supports for our military connected youth. And sometimes I do have a student council of military connected youth that's new last year, with 2 military connected youth from each high school in the division. And I think our students who come from high schools that don't have very many military connected youth really want to connect with students across the county. So I know you live on base, so it's more likely than not your students are attending probably Hayfield or Mount Vernon or West Potomac or South County, probably. And by the way, the mold at Hayfield, I walked through all of it today. We're addressing it. It will be fine by Monday, so just know we're going to be safe by Monday. It's been very humid this summer, and so some of the leaks they've been fixed and addressed. Last slide. I guess if you want to use the QR codes, there are some resources to collect, and there's also a military connected youth part of our website. So I don't think you want to hear me talk further, but I will be here with the Colonel to answer questions that are appropriate for me to answer. Thanks.
Thank you, Madam. Appreciate that. Thank you. All right, continue on. We're going to go to the spotlight brief from the panel members. And at the conclusion of that, we'll move into question and answer. We want to make sure, and they'll be quick, we want to make sure we leave plenty of time for questions and answers. All right.
Okay. All right. Good afternoon. Good evening. My name is Marie Bailey. I am the Fort Belvoir School Liaison. I serve in the school district of Fairfax County Public School, Manassas Public School, also Prince William and Amarillo Public School. Those are the schools areas that I cover. All schools had started the school registration process, and some of the schools have already begun starting schools. And Fairfax County, like Dr. Reed has stated, will start on Monday, the 18th. There's Fairfax County Public School and as well as Prince William Public School. For Manassas, they has already begun to start on the 12th, and Amarillo Public School started on the 13th. For bus scheduling and bus stops, the local schools in the community and as well as on base, they have the bus list and where the bus will pick up the students at, and also as far as dropping them off. And then also you can go to their website to download the mobile app the bus app, so you can keep track of the bus schedules, the school bills, and et cetera. As far as the cell phone policies in all the schools is in full effect. All the student cell phones should be stored away, and to read about the policies for the schools that they have at the different schools, refer to their school policies. And also for immunizations, at some grade levels, some of the schools are asking for proper documentations. So make sure you have that on hand, and then also if you want to know what type of immunizations that your student need, you can either refer it over to the doctors or either over to Virginia Immunizations. And lastly, what I wanted to say is that for the schools on Fort Belvoir and any schools, before you enter into the schools, make sure you show proper identification to come in. They just won't let you just walk into the school without any identification whatsoever. So if you go to the ones here on Fort Belvoir, make sure that you have the proper identification, ring the buzzer, and they will let you in. Thank you.
Thank you, Marie. Again, my name is George Dixon, Director of MWR here at Fort Belvoir. Army Community Service is one of our divisions in MWR. Our Exceptional Family Member Program, Family Support, falls under ACS. Army Regulation 608-75 states that soldiers must enroll their exceptional family member in DEERS and register with the hospital. ACS EFMP Family Support offers many services, as you can see up on the screen. Registering with ACS is voluntary, but to use these services, you must be registered with ACS. Here are a few of our upcoming activities. MWR continues to offer events for you and your family members to participate over the next 3 months. Mixed fitness class, high intensity interval training mixed with Zumba. I had to ask the fitness director what that was, so now you know and I know. New York bus trip. What a great way to see the Big Apple, catch a show, or visit a museum. Oktoberfest. Yay, finally. This will be our 27th Oktoberfest with authentic German food, beverages, music, dancing, a carnival, a Volksmarch, 5 and 10K. We continue to hire in child and youth services. Today in CYS, we need 125 employees to be whole. Marie Bailey is one of our CYS employees, and we're glad she's part of our team. As the Colonel touched on for the ACS Food Pantry, this is a needs-based program. So there are some questions that are going to be asked when you come in. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I will be available in the back at the conclusion of this town hall. I will be followed by Kevin Rennick, Director of HR.
Good evening again all. I just have a few updates for you this evening. First, starting off, September is our Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month. On the 3rd of September at 1300 Thurman Auditorium, we will kick off the month of September addressing suicide awareness and prevention. So if you have an opportunity, please come out and join us. The theme this year is Connect to Protect. Next topic I have is ID cards. Just for your situational awareness, there's a change in policy. When obtaining a new ID card, 2 forms of ID are required. However, the current ID you have is not one of the forms of that ID card. Well, that's needed to obtain your new ID card. So please check with our local ID card website for acceptable forms in obtaining a new ID card. Just know that the change, that the current ID card that you have, you can no longer use that as a form of ID. Another option within the obtaining a dependent or retiree ID card, you do have the option of going online to register for an ID card through the mail system. So again, check our local ID card website and how to go about that process without physically having to come into the ID card facility. Upcoming events, save the date. We have a Hiring Vets Now event that will take place on 17 September, 10:30 to 1 o'clock at the Army National Museum. It's open to transition service members, vets, and spouses. And then lastly, we have our annual Retiree Appreciation Day, 24 October, 08 to 1300 at Wells Field House. Subject to your questions, that's all that I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Lieutenant Colonel Julie Austin, again, the Director of Emergency Services. So DES is here to assist, protect, and defend this installation, and we do it on a regular basis very well. A few things I want to highlight. I have Lieutenant Simpson Stokes. She's in the back. She is our community liaison officer. She goes around to all the villages, so if you need anything, please reach out to her. She's always willing to help. Second, fire. I have firefighter Lamb here, so if you have any fire issues or comments and you want to talk to him about afterwards, please do. And our fire department is always here to help within the community and within your household. And then the last thing, the thing that everybody wants to know about is installation access. I do want to give a big shout out to some of our mission partners over the past few months. They have been providing us additional UMT support to help us keep Walker Gate open. I know that is a big thing for a lot of people on the installation. So what I would like to do is just continue to ask to support us and providing your soldiers and to provide that service to the installation so we can continue to keep the gates open that are currently open and not have to shut any of those down. So if you have any questions, that's our contact information, and I'll be around afterwards for any additional questions. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Glenda Dyer, Deputy Director of DPW. We want to make sure that everyone is aware that beginning the 23rd of August, there will be milling and paving by building 805, 808, which is near Culver and Cedar Grove villages. They're going to be doing the parking lot also by building 1469. But we want you to be aware that there will be flaggers on the road and asphalt trucks will be traveling on the installation. This will be going on anywhere from 23 August to finishing up the 7th of September, weather permitting.
Thank you, Deborah. There are just a few safety tips to get you started for the school year. I'd like to highlight a couple of those bullets. Suggested, create a family password for your kids. You can make a song out of it so they remember it, or write it in a poem. Make it fun to practice their password. Also, you want to prepare for after-school safety. If you have a child that walks to school, walk the route with them. Talk about whether or not they're going straight home, or if they want to go to a friend's house, talk about when they will go to that friend's house. Safety, our safety slogan, Back to School campaign, is starting very soon. Our first slogan will be school bus safety. So right now, I would like everyone to repeat after me so that when you go home, tell your kids this slogan, then give them a kiss and tell them to have a great day. Everybody ready?
Ready.
Safety first,
Safety first.
Learning always. In the back of the classroom, there are pumpkin bags for trick-or-treating. On the back of those bags, there's a little slogan as well, and when they trick-or-treat in the evening, you can see them, it lights up in the back. So at the end of this town hall, you can take one home for your children. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Matthew Conlon, I'm the Chief of Housing for the Garrison. I'm actually going to sit in for the villages and present their info because they were unable to send a representative this evening. So we want to highlight, they provide a number of free events during the course of each month, and we want to highlight the first Saturday of every month. They have extended hours on the Self-Help Center. So those of you who can't get to the self-help centers during the weekday, they are open the first Saturday of every month from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Also, they do various schools out events. Typically it's one per month, but in October they have two. Those are normally held at your whatever your community center is. I know some of the villages share community centers. So those events are held there. Upcoming ones include the 29th of this month, the Take and Bake a Pizza Party, and you'll pick that up at your community center. Next month's is a free jump rope at neighborhood centers, and I was asked, does that mean you get to take a jump rope home? Yes, they actually will give you a jump rope for your kids to kind of play with. And then they have, like I said, 2 more in October. Another big event that they've got coming up on the 6th of September, they're going to have a shredding center set up, and that's at, I think, their main office. And at that one, they're going to have free food, so they'll have donuts and coffee for you. So if you have an abundance of documents you don't want to just throw away, bring them on out, and then they'll shred them up for you.
All right, thank you very much, everyone. Now it's time for the Q&A portion of the evening. Before we get started, a few ground rules. We want everyone more time to engage in a discussion. If you have a housing issue, remember your question does not replace the existing procedures. Follow the process. Work with your mayors for any specific concerns. To address as many questions as possible this evening, each person gets 1 question with a follow-up if needed. Facebook viewers can ask questions in the live stream using the hashtag #AskBelvoir, and I guess there have been some questions coming in already. Please refrain from discussing or posting individual claims or legal issues. And additionally, as there's no one here from the villages on hand, any questions tonight will have to be forwarded to them for a response, and answers will be posted next week in the Facebook Town Hall live page. So with that, sir, if you would like, we can now begin our Q&A portion. We will start with a couple of questions in the room.
Yes, sir.
So my question is actually for the villages, but actually I want the Garrison commander to be able to hear it because it's something that I've addressed with them all summer. And while they've been very receptive to it, yes, it's a concern, it's also that the answer has been we're not going to do anything about it. So I've lived on military installations going on 30 years. When it comes to grass cutting, I'll say that Fort Belvoir, honestly, from a Garrison perspective, looks better than most of the posts in the Army. Travel around, TUI around a lot. Post looks great. Housing areas look like trash. And it really goes to because the grass gets cut every 2 or 3 or 4 weeks. It depends. And the excuses are always, well, it rained this week. If you're hiring a contractor in a weather-dependent industry, then you shouldn't operate on a razor's edge of capacity to where one day throws your schedule off the next 2 or 3 weeks. There should be capacity to surge on different days of the week. Say, hey, we lost a day this week, so we're going to surge on Friday with more employees. If they're not able to operate that capacity, then they should be issued a show cause for not being able to meet the requirements. Everywhere else I've ever been, early in the spring, you mow every 2 weeks. And then when it gets into the peak time when the grass is growing faster, you shift it every week, and then towards the tail end of the season, you go down. What I've had to do this summer, because I'm not going to let my own yard look like trash, we went and bought a lawnmower, so we have to mow all the weeks that housing doesn't come through. This one we're currently on week 3 going in now.
Okay, no, acknowledge all that. We have reoccurring events where we go out to the communities and engage them, and we actually had we call a meet and greet. So we had a meet and greet with Woodlawn last night, and the same question came up, reference mowing in the housing areas. So they have a schedule where they mow on every 10-day cycle. And it is true, on day number 10, it may rain. That may affect their ability to do that. But, it shouldn't be another 10 days before they come back out. So we'll take that back and address it with the villages and see how we can better schedule sort of those return based off contingency sort of times. I don't know, Matt, you got anything you want to add to that?
No, sir, you covered it.
Yeah, not the first time we've heard that comment, I don't have a good answer other than we'll work with the villages. They have a significant amount of change that's going on right now, so we're trying to work through some of the processes and as they onboard new people and indoctrinate them and get them trained. I ask that you be a little bit patient with us, but again, we heard it last night. They heard it last night. They were present at that engagement, so we'll try to improve that in the future.
And their responses are always great, it's just that, you know, I think we're at the stage of deeds, not words.
Yeah, I got you. Audio needs a match video. Got you. Okay, next question. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, good evening. I have a question for Dr. Reed in regards to Fairfax Public Schools. So my question is, I know that Fairfax Public Schools, they incorporated the new curriculum benchmark. And so I wanted to know, is it possible going forward for grades like first grade and through fifth grade is able to have paraprofessionals in the classroom in order to kind of balance out the class ratio? So my child just came from Cub Run, and so therefore her class for first grade was like 27-1 for first grade. So a lot of half the kids were in intervention at risk. So in order to mitigate that, is there a way that you have or can get resources in order to support the ratio in the classroom?
So class size is an issue, and as you know, last year our budget wasn't fully funded, so that was part of what increased class size. But we do have a commitment to having smaller class sizes, at least in kindergarten, first and second grade. So the Title I schools who are eligible for more funding do have smaller class sizes, and sometimes the schools that are not Title I, their class sizes do rise. But there are instructional assistants that can be assigned to classrooms, so I would talk directly with the principal and talk about how they might allocate that staffing.
Thank you.
You bet.
Just to take a step back. What housing area do you live in?
Belvoir Village.
So DES, we're going to handle a couple of issues or several questions here on gates. Expanding access to Kingman Gate would be beneficial. It makes it a challenge for those that are on commuting on Fairfax County Parkway or I-95. Is there a plan to fix the anti-vehicle barriers at Tully Gate? Additionally, is there a plan to keep another gate open at least until 8 or 9 p.m. besides the 24-hour access at Tully Gate? And is it possible to open Kingman Gate for exit only at 5 a.m.?
So I'll address those. So short answer, no. So it is a resource constrained environment. For us to be able to change our gate hours or to add additional gate hours or to open additional gates, we do need additional manpower to help us. Currently right now with our Department of Army Security Guards, we are at 37. We have 37 of those, and we augment that with our law enforcement and then also additional unit mission task personnel from across the installation. We have been very fortunate over the past few months. We have gained a lot of strides in partnering with a lot of the organizations on post to help us meet those mission requirements. But until we can get more folks trained, we are just unable to open up additional gates at this time. What we strive to do is to be able to keep open the gates that we have right now, and to also keep open during peak hours, all the lanes open to help the increase of traffic come in during that peak hour time. So that's for the gates. So short answer, no, we cannot change gate hours right now. We would love to, don't get me wrong, but we don't have the manpower to be able to do it unless more units provide additional soldiers to help us support that mission. And then for the barriers, you're tracking the barriers, so there's a contract for the barriers, for the maintenance of those barriers, and that contract has been under dispute now for the last quarter. We do not have any end in sight of when that dispute is going to be settled. That dispute is with USACE, so we currently have no money for maintenance for those barriers. So right now, our barriers are down. We continue, Garrison Commander, the MDW Commander, MCOM continue to push to find a resolution to that dispute. But as of right now, we have no dispute or timeline of when our barriers are going to be fixed. The one thing I would like to ask the community to do for our barriers, though, is to slow down. The speed limit over the barriers is 15 miles an hour. What Colonel Stewart mentioned about the driving privileges being suspended, we suspend driving privileges if you go over 15 miles an hour on the installation and are given a ticket. A lot of times, we catch those people going over the barriers, so going 30 miles an hour over our barriers. That's what's killing our barriers, is the speeding. Every time you speed over those barriers, you destroy our barriers and break them. So please ask, as you're driving around Fort Belvoir, you see people, please help us continue to keep our equipment, workable and usable, by telling your friends, family, and everyone to slow down on the installation so that we can have working equipment, and we don't have the problem that we have right now.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question about sidewalks. I don't know if that's DPW or if that's villages. But in the spring, we're in Joe Creek and they came and sprayed all of our sidewalks. You know, like this area needs to be repaved. This area's cracked, it's not safe. They said they're gonna get it done before the summer when kids are gonna be riding their bikes, but they never got it done and it's still not paved and there's no update. And I don't know who's supposed to be tracking that, but I mean, they promised before summer and summer's done.
Yeah, so the housing areas and all of the infrastructure in that housing area is run by the villages. So that includes, road work there, the sidewalks, the parks, all of that stuff is within their portfolio. We have acknowledged that there are a number of sidewalks that they need to get repaired because they're on level, trees, roots are coming up and pushing them up, that sort of thing. So step one was for them to go out and just identify all of those areas across the installation housing areas where those repairs needed to be done. So that's what they did when they went out there and did one. So they are funded on an annual basis. They have X amount of dollars to put against the maintenance requirements on the installation. So again, it's a function of resources, how much money they have. And they capped out their budget early on based off of the weather events that happened last winter. So there was some unexpected weather that caused them to dig into their purse in terms of addressing those weather events and the damage and that sort of thing. So they exhausted some of their funding that would have been put against the sidewalks and some of these other repairs that they were supposed to make earlier in the year. It's still on the to-do list. They're coming up with a plan of execution based off the worst case scenarios, and then they'll work it all. It probably won't start until the beginning of first quarter, our first quarter, their fourth quarter, before we start to see some of those remediations being done. So they have gone out, other than just market, and done some testing. They've identified a new product that they think they can do that is less expensive and quicker, but equally as durable as other concrete, cement type materials that they didn't use. So they have done some testing on that in some areas. So they have the way ahead, they have the plan. Now it's just about the money catching up to the timeline in order to make some of the changes. So it's coming. I just ask you to be patient. And I understand your frustration because we've been hearing about it for a while now too, but it's coming. Yes, ma'am.
School bus safety, you know it's my favorite. So I have two things in regards to that, because one was the slides that just came up. Are the schools tracking your drill on the first day of school that's going to affect all the school buses that have to come to George Washington's Village by the hospital? Is that going to affect the roadways at all? You have a drill on the 18th, it's the first, yeah, the active shooter drill.
The hospital's having an active shooter drill on the 18th.
Okay.
The slides said they did.
Is that
Is that going to affect the traffic patterns?
What?
No.
But the school
The
buses have.
the drill, it runs from 10 to 11 a.m. on
Perfect.
Monday, so
Perfect.
should not be any
Okay.
interference.
And then, with all of the speeding, the stop sign running, all of the stuff that happens between the school buses and the people that are on the roads, etc., resources are slim, and I understand that. We've established that. Is there a way to maybe take one officer and every morning, okay, on Monday you're in George Washington, on Tuesday you're in Doak, on Wednesday you're in Cedar, and rotate throughout the neighborhoods for a 2-hour block with one of the officers you have to try to mitigate some of that, because you can't put someone in a neighborhood because of shortages, but if you have one and no one ever knows where they're gonna be,
Focused on the bus stop?
focus on the bus stops so they can, because we have people going 37 and 15s, and there's no parents out at the bus stops either for some of these little kids. I mean, we had 14 buses run stop signs last year out of 16 buses. And it's a lot, it's ongoing. And it's just one of those things where if we don't have all the officers to be everywhere, could we take one and for 3 hours just rotate them between the neighborhoods and the bus stops?
Can I answer this one? So we do that.
Okay.
So that is something that we already do in our proactive policing plan, but we will continue to do that, throughout this next school year. And I'll work with our team to make sure that we.
In George Washington, I've never seen one.
We have a plan,
Mhm.
where we do our speed enforcement, our stop sign enforcement, based off of where we're seeing the number
Okay.
of increase in whatever it is, if it's speeding, stop sign running, all
Yeah.
of those types of things. So sometimes you'll see where we focus on one village for longer because there is so much crime in that village.
Mhm.
But we do have a plan where we rotate throughout all the villages to ensure that we're getting after what you're talking about.
Got it.
And we'll continue to do that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and the other piece too, and this is why it's important that you guys are communicating what you're seeing, because there may be some areas in the neighborhood, some bus stops that are worse than others. So
Right.
there may be ones we need to focus on, because some of the bus stop routes include, we'll call it thoroughfares going to specific compounds, specific facilities, where you have people rushing to get to work, rushing and leaving work, trying to get out, beat traffic, that sort of thing. So there's probably some that are more hot spots than
Right.
others. So there may be more of a concentration in those, and might be why it's not as visible in some areas than others. But there's a plan. We make sure we document it. We obviously don't announce it, but we'll
Right.
continue to refine that based on what our officers are seeing on the ground.
Okay.
But input from you all in terms of what you guys are seeing is equally important. Just, because you're our additional set of eyes and ears that are out there. in the
Right.
environment. So thank you.
Appreciate it.
We have an online question for Dr. Reed. Any update on when the primary school will have a principal?
That's a great question. I think we have identified a person and it's awaiting announcement.
Okay, and the secondary question was, can we address the massive mold issue at Hayfield? And I understand, and as you said earlier, that is known and being worked on.
Right, there is a mold issue. I don't know if it's a massive mold issue. There was a roof drain leak on July 28th in our music building area. So 2 of the performing rooms, we're going to be pulling out all the carpet and just laying tile in there. So those 2 classes will be meeting in different locations until the carpet's gone, the tile is in there, because we decided not to remediate the carpet. And then there's an area in the robotics lab that had a mechanical failure with pipes above the ceiling tiles that leaked. So we've closed off the robotics lab area until all that carpet is pulled up and replaced, because they want carpet there. But all the rooms are being inspected, and air quality is being taken in all areas, and school is expected to start safely on Monday morning for all future Hawks.
Thank you, ma'am. For MWR, here's a question for you, sir. Will there be rides at Oktoberfest for older people and children? And when are those dates again?
Oh, yeah. So that's a really good question. So we're currently working with our carnival contractor to ensure that we are going to have rides for the older kids, but I know it's really for mom and dad. But the good thing is all of their employees have been vetted. That was the challenge that we had last year, was getting enough employees so that they could open up all their rides. So we're working with the contractor is the short answer. Oktoberfest will start 18, 19, 20, and 21 September. So.
No, 25th.
Oh, sorry, yeah. 25th, 26th, 27th. Yeah, I need glasses. 24th, 25th, and 26th, and 27th of September.
24 through 27 September, Oktoberfest, Freeman Field. Another MWR question. I noticed the story time at the library is focused towards older kids. Is there a way we can have another story time specifically for 18 months and under?
Yes, I'll work with that. time with the library to make sure that happens.
Thank you, sir. Anyone in the room?
And just have one more comment. So I know all of our children need IDs when they hit 10, 11, something or other. Is there a way to reiterate to all of the gate guards the visitor's pass requirements for children? Because apparently there's still an issue ongoing with certain guards in regards to like 15, 16, and 17-year-olds. If I go pick up my child's friends and bring them and they don't have a license, they can't get a visitor's pass and they're not required to have one. And that's holding up some of the gate lines too. Is there just a...
Yeah, so that issue came up, I think earlier this week. So we are addressing that. There's a few guards that we have that issue with, and we are addressing that.
Thank you. Questions in the room?
It's maybe MWR. Is there battery recycling anywhere on base? Because we know we're not supposed to throw batteries in the trash, but where can we take them to safely dispose of them?
There is not, yeah, no, there is not.
Okay.
There's not, that's something, and we'll write that down, and kind of at least give you the options of what's available, yeah.
I have a question for Dr. Reed. Well, not a question. I just want to make you aware of something. I'm a mayor, so I hear things. So this is not necessary. Like, I know this has happened more than twice, but I can't give you a scope in any way, shape, or form. So, some military kids can't enroll in the Belvoir schools when they live in a hotel off base because they don't have a notarized affidavit saying that they are moving to the area and that they will have housing. And so when they show up at, I know it happens at primary, I don't know if it happens at upper, when they show up there and they don't have the affidavit, the school will tell them, hey, you need to go enroll in the school for your hotel and not, but there's a federal law that says that homeless kids can enroll into their school that they're going to be in, and living in a hotel counts as homeless. So I just want to make you aware, it's happened more than twice. I don't know if it's happened 100 times or if it's only happened twice.
Yeah, it shouldn't happen, so I'll make a note. And you're saying it's happening with the on-base schools?
In the on-base school.
Okay, well then that's only 2 to connect with, so we can do that.
What other questions do you have? Concerns, recommendations? Yes, sir.
It's really, and I assume because the village isn't here, I guess this question is really just more of a, does Post have like a environmental office like an Air Force base does that would still oversee some of the things that happen in housing? I live in Cedar Grove. There is an assumption that there was a raw sewage leak based on what we were smelling and what we were seeing. Now, I know the village is in charge of all of housing, public works, or management, as you said. It was just marked off with like red caution tape, but there was also no notification that this could be a health hazard. Now, it has been capped. It's right outside my house. It's been capped with a plastic cap, but is there, we should be notified. The kids are out of school. It is on runoff. It's been raining. There's a sidewalk there. We can only park on that side of the street. So I guess my question is there a way to make sure that those things are being notified to people living around those houses?
Yeah, Matthew, are you tracking that one?
I've heard about it, but not a whole lot of detail. I did check into it. That was American Water Lines, and I believe they did repair it, but as
But
you said.
we were never notified that there was a,
Yeah.
I mean, because we should be like, kids are out of school and we can only park on that side of the street. That's where that leak was. Got kids getting in and out of cars, walking, a public health notice of, hey, there might be raw sewage in the grass.
Yeah, we'll take that back, yep. Because the villages should be notifying you anytime there's some common area issue.
And it's between houses, but again, we can only park on that side of the street.
You said it was Collierville?
Cedar Grove.
Okay, yeah, we'll take that back. question, concerns, sir?
Who has responsibility for streetlights in the housing areas?
The villages.
Okay, so I did submit a work order, the second one, got status on it today, and it goes into the magical on hold, which basically means between now and the next 3 fiscal years, we'll get to it, and we're not gonna give you any updates when you ask. Now, the real response I got was pending contractor, after I had asked 3 or 4 times, because it's been out for probably about 3 months now.
Who are you engaging?
I'm going through the loft site, and then I'll call to my community center when I can't get a follow-up. I try to kind of use the processes. And again, when you get a hold of them, it's always, well, on hold means this. Well, again, on hold is a very subjective term within that system. It probably shouldn't even be allowed to be a term within that system, to be honest. So I had the same issue. I had a mold in my attic, and they're like, and they jumped all over it, came in and literally put plastic tape over it. And like, we'll have this fixed next week. That was 4 weeks ago.
And you have mold, and they identified mold in your attic? Okay.
And again, they did come in like the next day and put some plastic tape over it, said we'll have a remediation person come out to replace this wood, repaint it.
And nobody's been in it since then?
No. And in fact, we were actually out of town for a week, and they're like, oh, perfect, we'll come while you're gone. And when I came back, I immediately checked and wasn't there. I tried to send updates through the app, through the website, and call, and you get kind of, well, we gotta get a hold of somebody, we'll let you know.
Got it. Okay, Matthew, can you get their address after this? The specific.
We were just checking.
Yeah, okay, all right. Got it.
Per person.
Because that's a life health safety type concern, so that's supposed to be action immediately.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like some
light.
It was a newer development. It wasn't there like, it was a new development. It's not like we moved in, it's been there for 2 years.
Yeah. Okay, but still, I mean, old is old, so we're supposed to jump on it immediately, so we'll work that, you know. The light thing, sometimes that does take time, because sometimes they won't come out for one light, they wait till there's like 10 lights out, then they get the contractor out there, so it's an efficiency type conversation. Unless they get the lighting, wherever it is a life health safety thing, if it's creating an unsafe environment, then that's more actionable quickly, but yeah.
Get a little ladder, I'll take care of it.
I got you. All right, what other questions? Yeah, no, you're cringing. All right, other questions?
I have a suggestion. Could we get a real strong partnership between the school age center, the school liaison office, and the transportation office to get all of the kids from Markham on the right bus before school starts? Because we didn't get notified, so I'll be honest, I dropped the ball. I forgot to do my transportation form, but nobody reminded me to do it. And then I got a note from the transportation office saying my kids were on the wrong bus. And now, like, I wasn't the only one with the problem. A bunch of people at the Markham School Age Center got the same note because nobody told us to do our forms again. And it would be nice if we just had like a nice partnership, so all the kids get on the right bus and off the right bus at Markham and go back and forth in the schools.
Okay, acknowledge all, yes. Let's talk into this.
Okay.
Yeah. Just for more context.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Further questions, comments, recommendations?
I just want to piggyback on what he was saying. We moved in on July 31st, and housing has been a nightmare to deal with since we got here. He's been in 27 years, and we've looked at so many different military housing areas. Today, they promised to come between 1 and 4. He took off work to be there early for them to come. They never showed up. Our work orders are getting put on hold or marked resolved. No one's coming to do the work orders. And, I mean, it's just so difficult to deal with because we get the runaround. We go to the community village office. They tell us one thing, maintenance tells us another. There's just not been any resolutions to anything.
These are simple things too, right? So we got here on post on the 12th of July, right? We moved in and signed for the house on the 31st, right? These are all things, that house was empty when we got here on the 12th. That should have been handled and taken care of before we moved in. Broken blind, rusted out dishwasher racks, inside lining of refrigerators with cracks all in it, a backyard that when we signed for the house the day we signed on the 31st, torrential downpour that day, right? I've got 2 rivers flowing and converging in my backyard and carrying the dirt that they laid out to try to mask the problem down to the back corner of the garage. We call, I put in, day 1 of moving in, I put in 7 work orders.
5 of them are still open, right? The only one that they came to show up to do anything about was because I had a magic word in it, leak, right, in the kitchen sink. Turns out it just needed to be tightened down. Just like you, sir, I could probably do most of this work myself, right? But I don't want to start ruffling feathers around here. So my general comment is, what's the line of accountability, right? Who holds any of these people accountable for the things that they do or do not do? We had our first positive interaction today, so I'll end it with a good note, right? Dan, the electrician. I mean, hopefully I can get him to fix my plumbing problems or any other problems, because he came through, was communicative, answered all my wife's questions, put her at ease, handled the job that was needed to be done quickly and efficiently. He did a great job. Had a kid named Oliver with him assisting. It looks like he was showing him the ropes and doing training with him, doing the right way. But just getting him to show up there was like pulling teeth, because they had closed that work order the day prior, and we've resubmitted it and finally got somebody on the phone today and had him finally show up. And it was something simple, right? That I'm not an electrician, and neither is my wife or my daughter, right? So it was good to have someone that knew what they were doing, just to come check something, say, yep, this is what it is, fix it, be done, and call that a day. So again, like, what's the line of accountability? Because, heck, I don't care. I'm a CW4. I've been in the Army for 27 years. If they're jerking us around and other folks around like that, what are they doing to the soldiers and stuff that live in Woodlawn and on some of these other enlisted villages? You know, what kind of concerns do they have on a consistent basis that just don't, they just quit, they give up, they don't even call the stuff in because they know nothing's going to be done about it.
Yeah, no, got it. Let me, first of all, what housing area are you in?
Cedar Grove. I think you live behind me.
Possibly, yeah.
Okay, again, we'll get your information after this so we can take it directly, like, case by case, because again, and I appreciate you sharing that, because again, we don't always hear that. It goes from resident to villages, and we kind of.
Well, again, we're new here. I don't even know.
But it shouldn't have to make it to the Garrison commander.
No,
that's the thing.
yes,
You know,
you're
like
right,
it's
but
not your job, but there's no accountability.
We have some oversight over them, so when we have these anecdotes and these data points, like things that are happening, we can go and engage, and we meet with the villages every Thursday. We have a housing meeting every Thursday, and we also engage with them on Monday because we have a housing meeting up with IMCOM, specifically talking about serious problems like mold, displaced families, that sort of thing. So there's not a lot of daylight between us and the villages, but again, I mean, we only know what we know based off what's provided to us. And everything, again, they're the first line of defense. We have with our housing office oversight over that service, that contract. But again, it's important that we kind of get these incidences to help us move the needle in terms of improving. And I'll be fair to the villages, they have gotten better. You may not see it yet, you guys might not see it, but they've gotten better, trust me.
And we're still in the first impression phase.
Yeah, I know. It's only up to me, don't worry. And look, and they've had some significant changes in their organization in the past 30 days. And it's something that we are sensitive to, because we're leaning in like, you know, that, oh crap, how do we mitigate any turbulence that potentially could happen? And I wish they were here today, because the direct feedback for them would have been absolutely helpful. But we'll carry the water and make sure that we carry these messages back to them so that they know where they need to focus and improvement. Like not showing up in the specified block window that they're supposed to, not the first time we've heard that. And not the first time they've heard. So again, we just need to keep, beating the drum, make sure that look at their processes and systems, that they're getting better every day. But specifically, we just need to get yours, addresses, so we can take that directly as anecdotes back to them tomorrow and get answers back, on kind of what the status is. Not just what the status is, what happened, from their perspective to, validate what's going on and get your answers back fast. And anybody else that also has challenges with housing that they have in their own residence, we'll make sure we capture that and take it back.
We're fine with just two-way communication, right? Hey, we can't do X because A, B, and C. Okay, cool, no problem. But like,
yeah, and and they need to be able to dig into kind of what happened, in order to improve it. They are And I wonder if it's a system thing or it's an operator thing. They are transitioning between, the work order systems from Lilly to Yardi. So is this a gap that we just found or what? So we just need to go back and take a look at, open the closet and see what's in the back of the book. No, thank you for sharing.
Facebook Live viewer asks, DPW, is there a solution to closing Hurley Road to pedestrians? Last time I walked it, it was blocked by a locked gate. Will the path be continued around the back of the teen center toward the teen center parking lot?
They're actually talking about doing some work on that trail to open up to the residents for walking. Right now it is a funding situation and there is a unsafe area that it is, so it is closed off to protect the community.
Thank you, ma'am. MWR, somebody writes in that there's a larger pothole at the travel camp next to spot 1. Are there plans to have that filled?
Yes, if we have funding, yeah. We'll call it in tomorrow and see if we can't get it filled.
And this is for Colonel Stewart. What is the strong sewage smell at the front gate?